Hi, today we're going to show you how to import a CSV to bulk trigger a Salesforce flow. So one thing I'm going to show is in Salesforce how to get there. So in Salesforce, if you click up here and you click Setup, you'll get to your settings here on the left, and you'll go down to Process Automation. Under here, you'll go to Flows. And the flows that can be triggered from outside Salesforce are what's called auto-launched flow for process type. So if you're going to make a new flow, make sure you click auto launch flow. You see how it says it can use the REST API. So that's the external API other apps can call. So we have this one auto launch flow here, and it basically just takes an email and looks up a record. And so it's pretty simple. You probably have more involved flows. So, as you test and depending on your Salesforce plan, you may have different limits for importing. So if you're trying to import a 100,000 row file and you're not on the right plan, you might get errors. If you're trying to import smaller record files, that probably always works. So if you have any issues getting your whole file into Salesforce, just reach out to EasyCSV chat or support. You can email or chat us. We always get back to everybody if you don't get an immediate response. Definitely under 24 hours. So cool. So this is the flow we're going to try to trigger. You saw that there were a bunch of flows there we could. So let's go over to EasyCSV. We're going to make our first import page. In this case, we just need to send an email address. So I have a fake CSV file that just has one column called email, and it has this dummy data called text in it. You'll probably have a spreadsheet with many columns and many values in it. So we'll name this Salesforce Flow Tester Import. Do next, and we're going to select our destination as Salesforce. And by default, it may pick making leads, but we're going to change that. So go to Import Flow. This top area is how EasyCSV can get the files. So you can email the files as attachments to EasyCSV and it'll auto process. You can have EasyCSV fetch the files from FTP or Dropbox or Drive or a URL. You can always drag and drop on that import page. This import page you get for free, right? Like you can always just drag and drop the file if you want to do it manually. But there are some ways to automate. The middle area is, these are the columns you've told EasyCSV to care about. If there's extra columns in your file, EasyCSV will ignore them. So make sure you list the ones you care about. Filtering data, you can filter out rows you don't care about. So maybe there's some rows with bad data in it, and you don't want to have that happen, so you can add filters. Virtual fields are a way to combine or massage data into a new field that you can use in Salesforce. If you have dates or date times that are in a format that Salesforce doesn't like, you would use a virtual field to change those dates. So for example, like you'd call it massaged date. And maybe this instead of email would be called date. And you can change the date from, month, day, year to day, month, year, or from month, day, year. You can do a bunch of stuff with that to kind of change it from one to the other so that it'll be accepted in Salesforce. And then the bottom is the destination. So in this case, it's going to this Salesforce account. You can connect multiple Salesforce accounts to EasyCSV, so you can change this here. You'll see the action is making a lead, which we don't want, so let's edit that. And we're going to go to flow. You can make leads, accounts, you can make custom objects, you can make opportunities, and you can trigger flows. So save that. You'll see it says choose the flow. So if you say choose, it'll list your auto-launched flows that are available publicly. So let's go back here. There is a way to say that it's available publicly. There's something in here that lets you say it's public. Well, I think when you set up the flow, you can say if it's available externally, and so just check that it is. So let's look up. Let's save. Cool. And then the last step is to map your spreadsheet fields and your virtual fields to the Salesforce fields. So here on the left, I've actually I've made a bunch of fields here, right? So in here you can make these values. So you can say test field. Interesting. I don't know why that's not a valid field. Let's make another one here. Oh, yeah, you have to select the type here. Cool. We want do that, and then for down here, you can say new resource, and you want variable. So you'll give it a name like mine. And you can select the data type if it's text. Yeah, and you want to do available for input. Cool. And so that's what all these are. These are like fields that we've labeled as available for input so that you can send them in. And what that does is it makes them appear here. So I've put a bunch of dummy ones in there, right? Lead email was the one I originally started with, which is for this import, but I wanted to show, currency doubles are float numbers like 23.22, right? Date time. So like you'll see the different types here. And make sure you pass in valid data, like Boolean should be true or false, and you can use virtual fields in EasyCSV to map certain fields. Like if it's yes or no and it needs to be true or false, you can make a virtual field where it says if it's yes, change it to true. If it's no, change it to false. So here we would select email. If you had a bunch of virtual fields, you see virtual fields here. So you'll just map the fields you need to. Usually, you'll see the ones that are your input fields here. So you click save, and now you're ready to import. You can drag the file here. You'll refresh, you'll get a log. You can also see the logs here. You can go up to here and set up your notifications. You'll get emails as the person importing. If there's any errors, you'll see them attached to that email as a CSV file. If you have any issues, just reach out to EasyCSV support and you should be good to go. Thanks.